Look, it is not by accident that for over 2 decades, history was removed from our curriculum. The curriculum is already useless enough as it is. It's graduating engineers that cannot build roads, and you have to bring engineers from Lebanon, from Turkey, from China, everywhere but Nigeria, on almost all major projects in a country of over 200 million people. We are exporting. Look, don't let me be derailed.
Everybody is calling us cowards that because we are not reacting. Now the question is that, is it news now that IBB annulled the 1993 election? Is it news that Abiola won the 1993 election? Because to me, it is not news. Every Nigerian knew this from 1993, that MKO Abiola won the 1993 election. So that IBB has published a book and is talking about it now. Is it breaking news? No, it is not breaking news, because IBB is only coming out to be relevant because a Yoruba man is ruling. Why didn't he publish that book when Buhari was president? He knows what he's doing. It is still part of his political games, and I won't lie to you. The Yoruba nation understands him well. We do. They understand him well. We know the games he's playing.
Babangida himself admitted that yes, the book will not end the controversy, will not end the discussion. In fact, it's even likely to trigger or stimulate additional controversies and discussions. So it is for the country to discuss. It is for the country to look at issues as they were made open by former President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. But the important thing is that he admitted that there were mistakes and missteps. And as the leader then, he took absolute responsibilities. So with remorse, he regretted his action, and he said if the opportunity represents itself, he's going to do things differently. So it's left for Nigerians, when they are looking at the issues, to look at the fact that yes, to err is humane. As a human being, you can make mistakes. If you make mistakes and you regret the mistakes, you lament and you seek forgiveness, you apologize. It is left for people to have a portion in their heart to forgive.
The Jagaban of the universe, who today sits in Aso Rock, a beneficiary of Abiola's sacrifices, was also sat there. Oh, and don't worry, I'm sure Mr. Peter Obi already knows exactly what I think of his attendance at that gathering.
Many of you did not pay attention to the fact that he said he didn't accept that he was the one that annulled the 1993 election. That he actually put the blame on Humphrey Nwosu and Igbo man. Why is that not going viral? Why is it not making the front page? Why are Igbo bloggers not talking about that? Where he said that Humphrey Nwosu did not tell him that he was going to announce the annulment of that election. I bet you Igbo bloggers cannot see that. You didn't see that in the book, Abi. You didn't.
If you look at the ease with which military governments keep coming to overthrow democratically elected governments in Nigeria, this is the first time we're having such a long span of time in an uninterrupted democracy. And I see this as a result of the distaste, dislike, and the way and manner Nigerians have shown their hatred for military intervention. I think the annulment has made the military so unpopular that Nigerians are not anxious to see the military in power. If you look at it from that angle, you will say, yes, it's a plus. It's a positive thing that has happened because it has entrenched the love of democracy in the minds of Nigeria. And it has made democracy to thrive longer than it had ever done in our democratic journey.
So Angela said that January 1966 coup started as a nationalistic coup, but ended up with ethnic coloration. That's what Babangida wrote. Why is it today that everybody just took a first part of it and everybody is running with the January 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup? Babangida said that. Did Babangida really say that? No, he didn't really say that. He said two things which did not mean what you have been sharing on the social media. That's what he said.
Welcome back to Local Journal, my people. Plenty people they para on top of this IBB book launch show. This time, na Dele Farotimi and other Nigerians were called shook mouth put on top of the matter. Then lambast drag IBB and some they talk say make Nigerians forgive IBB on top the bad way he do. Based on say IBB do already confess and he do already apologize, say he do bad. And according to those ones, to err is human, but to forgive is divine. So then talk say make them forgive IBB on top all the badness where he don't do for inside this country. But Dele Farotimi, he no hold back at all because he dragged them. He lambast their gathering. In talk say their gathering say a gathering of rogues and thieves and the gathering of people where we say they don't mortgage the future of Nigerians already. In talk say posterity no go ever need a kind on those wicked people. He talk say posterity go judge them and he go judge all their children. Say all the bad things where they do where we say they commot history for inside our curriculum based on say they know the bad thing where they do for inside Nigeria. Say the bloods where we say they don't waste, he no go ever forgive them. Say Nigerians no go ever forgive them. He blast the sitting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he also blast P2B where in they support based on say P2B follow them go the gathering. He talks say because of these selfish leaders and wicked people where we get as leaders for inside this country, when we suppose they talk about development and we suppose don't they talk about new technology, say we see they talk about how to unite this country and how to even pay the debt what we owe as a country. He admonished many Nigerians may they not lose their memory at all. He talks say may them read about the history of this country, may they feel know the bad thing where these people don't do for inside this country. And he talks say make all those lies where the man tell for inside our book where in launch, make he not deceive us at all. Say they know all the bad things where he don't do. Them also talk about how they tag the 1966 coup as Igbo coup. Them talk say now waiting lead to Biafra war be that where they kill plenty innocent so when not do anything. And this one now the many of the wickedness where the military people and our past leaders don't commit for inside this country. In talk say the spirit of June 12, he go continue to hunt all these our leaders where we say then destroy this country. He talk plenty things for inside the video and I go play the video so that we go watch them together. But before we watch them, if today be the first time you visit our channel, I beg make you like, make you share, make you subscribe.
A collection of men and women sat in Abuja, and a decrepit man lacking in integrity, a man who blighted this country, was launching a book. He was launching a book where he essentially honed up to the crimes that he committed against the Nigerian people and the Nigerian state. A crime that culminated in the ruination of multiple lives, the death and burial of untold numbers in unmarked graves, he didn't tell us, by the way, who killed Dele Giwa. Not a word. At least I haven't seen any from the excerpts that have been flying around with the book that they are deliberately giving away cheaply because it's a bundle of lies. But sat in that room, before talking about those sat in that room, I think it is important that, without intending to scandalize anyone, I must draw this parallel quickly. About 2-3 years ago, I ran into some video of members of the family of a dead politician, one of those who was actually murdered by the coupists in the first coup. And his children were celebrating, I think, a memorial in his honor. But here is where I was. At the point when the father when their father was killed in the first coup, the man was reputed as being the most corrupt of Balewa's ministers. But by the time his children were celebrating his memorial, he was being celebrated as a great nationalist. This is possible in a society that has failed to document its history, or that has resorted to a distortion of history, So those who should be examples of reprobates are being nullified, even as the witnesses of that history have died out. So as a society, when you fail to document history, you concede the right to write whatever they care in their hagiographic exercises. So yeah, Babangida can sit down, probably pay some fat cat ghostwriter, tell his story of disservice to a people and to the memories of multiple persons whom he disrespected with his many lies, half-truths, and urban legends. And if we shall fail to take on the duty of preserving our memories and writing our stories, we will yet find that in generations to come, the rogues will be the ones being applauded, and they would have managed to criminalize the saints. The real heroes would have been forgotten. And then in that all, you have what I would call the mutual validation club. One of those, and I'm not talking about written history, I was there as a witness of history. I remember Chief Obasanjo, or shall I say General Obasanjo, in that season, talking about how Abiola was not the Messiah that Nigeria required. And when that Messiah came to power in 1999, stepping on the blood of Abiola, he did nothing to acknowledge the sacrifice of Abiola. He spent 8 years running away from the ghost and shadow of Abiola. And in looking to erase Abiola's memory, it desecrated even the memories of all those who lost their lives in the struggle for the actualization of June 12. The many lies about Abiola began to fly around in those days to justify painting him out and refusing to acknowledge the sacrifice. So the Mutual Validation Club was right there. Obasanjo was in attendance. And there he was, even as Ibrahim Badamachi Babangida was acknowledging what we already all knew. MQ won the election. So what was IBB telling us? Oh, I forget. The Mutual Validation Club was right there. The Jagaban of the universe, who today sits in Aso Rock, a beneficiary of Abiola's sacrifices, was also sat there. Oh, and don't worry, I'm sure Mr. Peter Obi already knows exactly what I think of his attendance at that gathering. Nobody sat in that gathering covered themselves with any glory. It shows a crass lack of sensitivity for those who have suffered and are continuing to suffer as a result of what happened in 1993. IBB will be forever defined by the evil it did on that day, or rather to that day. IBB is busy pontificating and blaming everybody but himself. A gathering of vultures. So let's be clear. All those who gathered there were merely members of a mutual validation club. Ibrahim Babangida told us nothing we didn't know. All he did was what he has always done. Play one end against the other. With one mouth, he was talking about how it wasn't an Igbo coup. With the same mouth, he was talking about how Awolowo is not a lover of the Igbo people. What does it matter now? Which one is which? After how many dead? What does it matter? We have a duty to remember, because in this land, we're becoming a land of amnesiacs. We remember nothing of consequence, but we also forget nothing that will divide. The Igbo this, Yoruba that, Fulani this, Hausa that, Ijaw that. There is always a reason to be divided. There is always a reason to be divided. Or have you seen them divided in their gathering of vultures? You forget too easily. But they never forget how easy it is to confuse you. They always stick with the script. We owe a debt to those who have died, not to forget. We owe a debt to ourselves who are yet alive, not to forget. We are the sum total of our memories, and when we as a collective forget everything of importance, how do we guide ourselves into our future? We owe a debt to those who have died. Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola is no more today. He can't speak for himself. All the pernicious lies that have been told since his death to justify the annulment of the election, they were barely afterthoughts. I voted in that election. I wasn't a child. I was old enough to vote, and it was the first election in which I voted. All these pernicious accusations came after the fact, just to justify the annulment, to justify what a bunch of ne'er-do-well sat down in a room to do. If it was a drug pusher, why wasn't this in the public space for us to decide whether we wanted a drug pusher or not? That was in the public space in 2023, and it didn't make any difference to the outcome because our choice did not count. The only reason our choice did not count was because it did not in 1993. If our choices had mattered in 1993, they wouldn't have dared 30 years later to tell us to go to court. Let us be clear about that. We have a duty to the dead to remember. Those who died, whether they were active participants in the protests against Babangida, the subsequent ruination under Abacha, everything that followed from June 12, 1993 till date, all the evils that have overtaken this country are traceable to the many actions of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida before June 12, crystallized on June 12. The ultimate expression of citizenship is the right to choose who leads you. That is the ultimate expression of citizenship. In the absence of the right to choose your leaders, you are not citizens, you are subjects. I expressed my right as a citizen to vote on the 12th of June 1993. That right was taken away from me by a group of thieves led by Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, ably explained away by General Obasanjo, originally resisted by the likes of Bulaba, who are today beneficiaries of that evil, but have all forgotten and are today more repressive than what we all fought at that time. Please, you have a duty to remember. We cannot be the land devoid of memories because your memories guide your future. In the absence of memories of where you have been, how do you remember where you are going? Yorùbá will say, "Tọ́mọdé bá ṣubú, àwo wájú, tágbàlagbà bá ṣubú ẹ̀yìn ló ń wò." If the youth stumbles, he looks forward. When the elder stumbles, he looks back. The only reason he's looking back is because he wants to know exactly what is it that he just tripped over, given the fact that he's been around the block many times. He should know better. His memory guides him to demand to know why. What is guiding us to demand to know why? Do you really believe that 2023 would have happened if 1993 had not happened? When are you going to make these critical connects? IBB can never repay the debt he owes. Only God will demand recompense of him, because obviously those who have come after him have been even more worse than him. So, make no mistake about it. IBB told no truths that were hitherto unknown. And he admitted to the most controversial of all, only in an effort to subjectify every one of the many lies by which he has defined his life. So move on. If you're looking for truth, stop doubting your own memories. Look for truthful accounts of history, and look for those who will tell you the truth. Do not be the land devoid of memories, but be careful where you read your history. Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida is not a witness of truth, and his place in the gallery of rogues is all but assured. And he said,